Hey survivors, Makeshift here to remind you that the Apocalypse Post is brought to you in no small way by our Patreon supporters. Join the ranks for early access and exclusive content with support levels now named for fancy Fallout-ridden factions like the $2 per creation Drifter or the $7 Wastelander. Knowing you've got my back has helped me dedicate more time to this channel, spreading love of the post-apocalypse and less time on stupid real-world stuff. Sign up right now at patreon.com/theapocalypsepost.
What happened? We did this ourselves.
They're coming. It can't be.
Where is everyone?
Hey there, survivors. You're listening to the Apocalypse Postcast, a podcast. I'm your host, Makeshift, and this week my guest is the Wasteland Weekend Build Crew Foreman. He's also the cultish leader of the Attack Squad tribe and lead singer of the ApocaRock band, Attack. He's known in the Wastes as the False Prophet, and this will be his second time joining me on the podcast. You may remember him from an earlier episode, Wastelander Stories Part 2. He is Tim Cottage.
Hey!
Thanks for coming on, Tim.
Dude, thank you so much for having me again. It's a pleasure to be back.
Awesome. Well, we got your perspective as a Wastelander last time. Now I want to get your perspective as a Wasteland performer. Your band Attack has played Wasteland how many times?
Oh, since 2012. So that's 8 times, right?
I'm making you do math at midnight.
Yeah. You're making me do math. I've already had 3 glasses of wine. Hang on. So that's 8 times. That should have been, because that should have been our 9th performance in 2020 and my 10th year on Build Crew. Both of those numbers are on hold.
Awesome. Well, all right. So to sum up all the introduction I just gave you, you had the Build Crew at Wasteland. You lead sing in an apocalypse themed band, and you rule over a tribe based around that band. So tell me, do you have control issues?
I never sleep, and yes. That's really, it's funny you ask, because it was years ago where I realized, oh my god, I'm a control freak, I need to calm down, right?
Oh really?
But I mean, it didn't start out that way. It was I played bass in another bands for years, and Attack was the first band where I was like, I'm going to start this band and I'm going to collect the members and we're going to do this the right way. I mean, the right way being like the fun way. We've talked about this in the previous interview we did on the Apocalypse Post YouTube, where the goal is just to have fun, not trying to get a record deal. Cool,
awesome.
So keep all that together on one side, and then Build Crew. I didn't ask to be put in charge of Build Crew. Adam just kind of thrusted upon me one day, and it's the best crew I've ever worked with in my life, and I love all of them dearly. And
awesome.
then the tribe really just relates to the band, because the entire point for the tribe was just to be a marketing machine for the band. So when we're not on stage at Wasteland, there's still a giant Attack eye on Main Street.
That's amazing. Now, you're the figurehead of that tribe, but do you also lead the tribe, or do you have like some people in there to help you handle everybody?
Well, so in the past we had an entire hierarchy within the tribe. We had, myself usually being like the dominar of the Attack Squad tribe, which can be just the flashy title for Undertown doings or Wasteland lore kind of stuff, but also tribe leader. We also had art director, transportation and logistics managers, treasurers, load crew, setup crew, teardown crew. And as the years have gone by, those roles have slowly disappeared. And so far it's just my brother Joe Fish, who's also in the tribe, also part of Undertown. He is one of our commanders of the tribe. And Buttercup, Joe Riot, he is our treasurer. Really, his job is just to poke everybody else to let them know that their dues need to be paid.
Yeah, gotcha. We need to do more stuff like that with my tribe.
it definitely helps for sure.
Yeah, awesome. So you do, it's kind of funny how you find yourself kind of thrust into these leadership roles in multiple facets. And it does seem like you inspire people to follow you, almost like some kind of cult leader demigod.
Weird, because that's what the false prophet is.
Yeah.
This weird demigod cultist leader. Yeah.
Yeah. So the big question there is, if you were in a Mad Max film, which villain would you be?
Oh man. No shit. Hang on. Maybe Toe Cutter from the first one.
Okay,
I'm trying to think.
That makes a
I
lot
don't
of
know
sense.
I don't know if the false prophet is eccentric enough to like Immortan Joe or Bullet Farmer or Gastown, right?
Yep.
Don't know if I'm that eccentric. But I mean, Toe Cutter was definitely eccentric enough and like weird and goofy, and their gang was totally half-assed, just like Attack Squad.
And you do kind of have Toe Cutter's hair if it was a little bit curlier.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's I mean, it's
Off
also
to one
purple right now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, Toe Cutter was the most down to earth villain, wasn't he? He was just kind of a biker gang leader.
Yeah. I mean, he was super strange. You know, he had like lots of weird, like eccentric tendencies and you know, the eye makeup and stuff as I'm looking at my purple hair and purple nails, right? My matching nails. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with Toe Cutter for sure.
All right, love it. That's perfect. That's wild. You know what was kind of wild when I first went to a Wasteland Weekend build day up at Adam's place. Adam's one of the Wasteland owners, for anyone that doesn't know. I was speaking to what was his name? He was the lead singer of the other Wasteland band that was supposed to play 2011. I can't remember. I think he passed away last year, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I was asking him, you know, because he kind of looked like a bad guy. And I was like, so if there was an actual apocalypse, would you be a good guy or a bad guy? And he was like, oh, bad guy, definitely. And I was like, I didn't know that people wanted to be the bad guy in these movies. I always thought people would naturally want to be the hero.
You're so pure. Oh my God.
But I think it's kind of wild because at Wasteland Weekend, you get to do that. You get to be the hero. You get to be the villain. And it's all in fun.
Yeah. And False Prophet has always taken kind of a chaotic neutral path. Once we joined Undertown, you know, we definitely have our loyalties that lie there. But I still have lots of free reign to just like kind of fuck with everybody as I see fit, as I am bored or want to do.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So Attack just released a brand new album very recently called Antagonist. And the title track has a music video that portrays you as a reluctant leader and your band as blind followers.
Yes.
If it's all right with you, I'm going to play a few seconds of the song.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to get a little context here. All right, here we go. All right, and it was such a pleasure because you did ask me to edit this video, and I had an absolute blast.
Yeah. And like you did so well, so much better than I could have ever done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was great. You guys, so basically you are the false prophet in your throne, and you're singing a song, and the rest of the band are your followers. They all have blindfolds on because their eyes have been removed. And you try to escape your position of power, but they drag you back and remove your eyes.
And gouge out my own eyes, yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like the imagery in here is amazing. Plus you shot it in the Mojave Desert.
Yeah, we shot it on a Wasteland property with permission, of course, right? You can't just go out there and start filming music videos. But it was a nice, big, wide open space where we knew the property owners, and we knew if we went out there, the cops wouldn't just roll up and bust us, because we're at the point now where we want to make these really cool music videos, but we can't really film them guerrilla style anymore. So we need to get like permits and insurance, and we need playback. So we had generators out there, and the big playback speakers, and so we were really lucky that we got to use the property for that.
Yeah, so much fun, and yeah, that's amazing that the Wasteland property is available to you guys, because that's what a treat. And it's such a gorgeous location. I mean, you look around 360 degrees and you don't see anything. Nothing. Like maybe a few radio towers, maybe the hints of Aerial Acres, which is the local mobile home community.
We kept it just out of frame.
That's perfect. But yeah, I mean, and maybe not 360 degrees, but 350 degrees of desert, really.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So with that song Antagonist, tell me a little bit about like what you were going for with that as
Yeah.
far as the writing.
So, man, I didn't know we were going to get this personal. It's also one of those things when you create art and you put it into the world, you are totally opening your art to interpretation, and you are welcoming and opening the door for people to start asking questions.
Of course.
So that's something that I've kind of thought about, especially with this song, with a couple of the other songs as well. But yeah, so fun fact, since mid of 2020, I started doing weekly therapy sessions. Got divorced back in 2016, I think it was. And since then, just let's see. The best way to put it is my self-care wasn't super great. I hurt a lot of people. I was not the best version of myself, and I'm not super proud of it. Shame is an obstacle to growth, though. And, while I don't feel guilt anymore, I still do feel remorse for these people that I've hurt in my path. And Antagonist was really one of those songs that just kind of popped out in kind of one of those moments of like imposter syndrome.
Got it.
Playing at the so I was actually on stage at the Wastelanders Ball in 2020. And we were in the middle of a song, and I just like it's really easy for me to get into my head when I'm just kind of in the motion of things. So we're in one of those songs that we've been playing for the last 10 years. And just like my brain just started kind of being an asshole and wandering. And there's all these people singing along with us and cheering us on, and we're having a good time. And like suddenly it was like a scene out of BoJack Horseman where everything goes dark except for a single spotlight on me. And I'm like, oh no, I am a phony. I'm just going to take off my bass and put it down on the ground and go get an Uber home. And these guys can unload all the shit. I'm out. Like, I do not deserve this. So yeah, so in a real dark place, started therapy very shortly after that. Because we can all get better, because we're not dead yet. So, I just took the opportunity, instead of letting myself spiral and get worse and worse, decided just to seek like professional mental health. And like, it's, I don't know, everybody I think could benefit from therapy for sure. And I'm really lucky that I did it when I did it, because it was starting to get bad. And some of the lyrics and the lyrical content of this whole album, it's a little dark. It's a little sad, man. But even after doing therapy, of which I'm still doing, by the way, it's one of those things where I look back at these lyrics and I'm like, man, sad boy hours were in full effect. but I also don't want to change them, because it was a certain time of my life, and it's a good reflection of that, and it's a good reminder that sure, I wasn't the best version of myself, but I can get better for myself and for the people that cross my path in the future. And yeah, man.
Yeah, that's interesting. So a couple of things there. I've noticed on your socials you've been a bit of an advocate for therapy. Like, I think you've suggested it to more than a few people and just talked about your positive experience with it, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I never go out of my way to like tell somebody like, you need therapy, right? Like, nobody wants to hear that. Right. I was told that for a while, and I'm like, no, get fucked. I don't need it. I'm the best. I'm the false prophet, right? Yeah,
it can actually create a bit of a resistance.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I've seen other people that are just like, oh man, I think I need therapy. And like, those are the ones I'll jump onto. I'll be like, you should do it. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to feel better. I mean, it's going to suck. But that's how it's working, is if it sucks.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then the other thought I had was, it is interesting how so much great art can come out of dark places.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Who was it? The writer, he said, write drunk, edit sober. And I think there's also a bit of a create sad, promote when you're happy.
Yeah. or promote still sad. It's art. Yeah. It's good.
But yeah, I remember, when I, and it's kind of interesting because I got into art scene as a very traditional artist with a lot of, like art class stuff, like paintings and clay and, that kind of stuff. And a lot of my art came out of kind of dark places, and I almost like stopped painting because of that, because I found that my best painting was when I was like depressed. And so I'd almost like feign a depression when I was working on a painting, like just get really in my head. And I don't know if that was, I don't know if that was the best direction for me to go.
Yeah. Like you are your own worst enemy. You're your most harshest critic. And it's just, God, what's the quote? It's something like when you give yourself anxiety, you're basically writing fan fiction about yourself or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's awesome, because this album that you put together is absolutely stunning. And I know,
man.
I've talked to you about it in the past. Yeah. I know I've talked to you about it in the past. You've mentioned that it comes from a dark place, but it is really fantastic. And I'm not encouraging you to go there again, but for sure. I cannot wait to see what you come up with next and how the next album is going to be like your continued growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like this also finally gave me the opportunity to wrap up the story that I've been building with the releases throughout the year. So throughout the years. So the Requiem EP, which was our second release, a Requiem is a song for the dead, right? Mm-hmm. And that kind of told the beginnings of the death of the world. And then it was the Apostate EP, which came next. And that kind of told the story of the false prophets' fall from grace. And then the Ascension EP, which was the false prophets' rise to power and taking over the wastes, right?
Oh, wow.
And then Antagonist, the album, kind of wraps it all up. It opens up with No God, where it's, it turns out I was your God. Let's fucking kick into this and get shit done. And it also, the false prophet has that moment of doubt. And that's where Antagonist comes in. It's, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. Let me out. But he gets sucked back into it. And, by the end of it is, oh no, what's the last song on the album? I don't know. I don't. Oh God, we went through this so many times.
You were doing so good.
I know.
While you're looking that up, I did not realize that there was a running theme in your albums like that. That's really cool. Did you know? Like, did you know that your albums were going to go this direction, or is it just kind of like flowing with your life?
No, I had been building on this for years. So the end of the album, the last two songs, Church of the Atomic, that is, we are the new church. It's the birth of the Church of the Atomic that the false prophet is the leader of. And then Left Behind, it's definitely ending on a bit of a somber note of the world moved on and we were left behind, but we're cool. We got this. And then of course we wrapped it up with our I Will Survive cover, which is nice and happy. Definitely fan service, right? Like everybody was super into it. Yeah.
Oh, that was another great song. Dude, you guys have some amazing covers. All right, survivors, we're going to be right back with more from Tim Cottage talking about his album, Wasteland Weekend, and much, much more right after this.
Tired of wandering the wastelands unarmed? Are raiders constantly outsmarting you and taking your goods? Well, my friend, stop being a rube and come on down to the Dukes of the Nuke. We've got a weapon for every open holster on your belt. Man, woman, or child, we will arm you to the teeth, no questions asked, and no money back guaranteed. So come on by and see us, and make sure that you are armed and giving out peace through superior firepower.
All right, so in this album and in a lot of your past music, you've done a ton of Armageddon themes, from songs about zombies and nuclear weapons to songs that tribute Mad Max characters. What draws you to write about the end times?
I wish I had a really good solid answer for you, but instead I'm going to do what I've been doing this whole time and ramble a whole bunch.
Yeah, do that.
But when Attack was first being formed and we started drawing outfits and kind of trying to craft some stage ideas, we settled on like Apocalypse, Mad Max, Road Warrior. And like Road Warrior was like the main theme that we were going for. And this was in 2009. And we'd never heard of Road Warrior Weekend. We'd never heard of Wasteland. We'd never heard of any of those. And we started designing set pieces with it and stuff. And then we start playing shows. And people don't get it. I was making costumes for all of them, which means they were all just like super half-assed costumes.
Awesome.
But like, oh man, dude, at one point, we had a comic book in development that was
Cool.
completely based around the Breakout EP and the song Breakout. And it was about how we all met and, broke out of this compound where we were being held prisoners and we're traveling the wasteland, trying to bring down the big corporate. Yeah, I wish I had a good answer for what draws me to it. I don't know. I think just being a Mad Max fan and a Fallout fan, for most of my life that I can remember, it was a huge draw for me. And the band gave me a kind of an interesting opportunity to pursue that artistic style, just not just within the music, but, like visually as well.
That's great. And so when Wasteland popped up and you're in a ApocaRock band, were you just like, oh my God, I yes.
Yeah. So so being a post-apocalypse themed hard rock band, like we're not really heavy enough to play with all the metal bands, but we're way too heavy to play with the rock bands, right? It's kind of hard to find shows out here. So we would team up with a band from Tehachapi, California called Heralds of the Sword. And it's exactly as cheesy as it sounds. They were like a Knights of the Round Table power metal band.
That's amazing.
Dude, they were so good. Like all of them were incredibly talented. The songs were catchy. They were great, but they would go up on stage and like chainmail and like, wizard robes and stuff. And it was very silly. So they would get off stage and everybody looks really confused. And then here comes this road warrior band who's screaming about zombies and just like, we could not draw people to our shows to save our life. So the guitar player of that band, his name is Wolf. He messaged me and he was like, hey, you need to check out this festival. This is right up your guys' alley.
Nice.
And it was Wasteland Weekend, and it was the website for the 2010.
The first Wasteland Weekend.
Yeah. Or no, must have been 2011. It was advertising 2011, so it had all the pictures from 2010. And I was like, oh my God, this is our mecca. Like, guys, it's time to go home. So I emailed Wasteland, and I think I talked to Karol Bartoszynski. I was like, please let my band play. And he was like, no. But you can volunteer for build crew if you want, because we really need help on build crew. And I was like, okay, we'll be there. So I turned to my band. I'm like, all of you fuckers are meeting me there that Friday, like ass crack of dawn. We're gonna weasel our way into this festival.
Awesome.
And so we got there and we brought like 5 or 6 laptops and a generator and a pile of blank CDs. And we had just finished recording Holy Shit Zombies. So we were burning copies of Holy Shit Zombies and just walking out into the wasteland, handing them out to anybody who would take one. This is at 2011.
Yeah.
And Adam ended up really relying on myself and a couple other guys in the tribe to fix some things that broke during the event. And we were just like, yes, absolutely. We're there. We'll fix it. So finally Wasteland ends. And I reminded Karol that my band wanted to play next year. And he was just like, okay, and walked away. And months later, I get a phone call asking if I would bring some guys down to the off-season build crew. I'm like, yes, absolutely. And that was the year, that 2012 preseason, where Holy Shit Zombies started getting played in the build yard a whole lot. And, we started working on a stage and finally Adam looks at me at one point. He's like, all right, so is your band going to play or what? I'm like, oh my God, yes, please.
Awesome. That's so great. Yeah. It took you, what, a year and a half, give or take?
So about a year before we got the invite.
Okay. Got it.
So we found out about Wasteland just a few months beforehand, and it was in the summer before 2012 that we officially got asked to come play.
That's fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
And so now since then, Attack has played Wasteland Weekend, which is the world's largest Mad Max festival, more than any other band.
Yes.
And
very
I
proud
think
of that.
more than any other act other than the Juggers. I mean, I'm talking like out of every bit of entertainment there, I'm pretty sure you guys have played more years than everybody but the Juggers.
Because they were there. You're right.
Yeah.
They were there for Road Warrior Weekend, weren't they?
I know they were there for at least the first Wasteland 2010.
Okay.
They did like a promo type of deal.
Yeah. So they have a couple years ahead of me, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, playing Wasteland for this long, what's been your experience being this apocalypse rock band playing at an apocalypse festival? What's that like?
Oh man, it's like going home. It's the one show we look forward to all year. We put the most work into it, making sure all of the backing tracks and the samples and the big 808 drops and stuff like that are all, perfectly dialed in. It's really interesting to go from the first couple of years we played Wasteland. I would hand a pile of like t-shirts or like patches or stickers to somebody in my tribe with a megaphone, and I'd say, "Go tell everybody that Attack's going to play in an hour at the main stage." And this person, would go around. Cody Yost was, I think, the first one to take the mantle of this, just, calling to everybody, just walking up and down Main Street. Attack is playing the main stage in 30 minutes, in 15 minutes. And we'd get like 15 people there. And that was enough. We're just like, yeah, this is the best show we've ever played. So now it's just, I mean, you've been there. It's side to side, but all the way from the stage, all the way to the Atomic Cafe. It's just packed full of so many people. And it feels like home, because it's not, we talked about this a little bit in the interview on YouTube. It's not just, fans, right? That's really weird, because, if we play at, some weird club in LA or something, and like 40 people show up, some of them will be Wastelanders. Most of them will just be there for the night because that's the thing to do that night. But like Wasteland is like, we party with those, like everybody out there, we party with them all week long. Awesome. And a whole bunch of them are on build crews. So I'm with them for weeks at a time. So it's not just like playing to our fans that we get to go see once a year at Wasteland. It's like, no, that's family. And it's like the biggest show that we do, and everybody loses their shit and everybody buys our merch, and all that money just goes into new recordings. And it's just this violent cycle. It's great.
It's fantastic. Yeah. And I love, and yeah, it's just like we talked about. And guys, I'll link the, Tim's YouTube, my interview with Tim on the Apocalypse post. I'm going to link that in the show notes below so you can track it down. Because we do talk about that, and your camp is there. It's facing the stage. After the show, you can literally walk back to your camp, sell merch, sign your albums, just hang out with people and share drinks. And it creates, I mean, it's not a music festival, but at your camp it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the Attack Squad is like the Ozfest tent at Wasteland.
I love that. Yeah.
And like, it's great because, we also sell, so because we're a cult, we don't sell, we give away Kool-Aid. Very spicy Kool-Aid. Knocks you on your ass. And then, it's really cool because it's not just us hanging out there. The folks in Dead Animal Assembly Plant, they all come hang out all the time. Those guys are great.
They're a great band too. They put on a hell of a show.
They're so good. I can't believe how freaking good they are, man. Zach and I are actually going to team up for a Twitch stream here in the next few weeks.
That's awesome.
We're working out all the details, but yeah. And and then another one of those moments where you have to just step back and look at yourself and ask, how did I get here? When I'm talking to somebody who, my friend Stephanie, I hadn't seen her for 6 or 7 years, and she just popped up in my face at Wasteland. She's like, "Hi, Tim." It's like, oh my God. So I'm sitting there catching up with her, and she looks over my shoulder and she goes, "Is that Jason Charles Miller from Godhead sitting in your throne?" I was like, yeah, he's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. And he's playing, not as Godhead, but as Jason Charles Miller, the
correct
rock country act.
Yeah, it's very like apocalypse country. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's great. It's such a cool sound, and from him to go from Godhead to this like different, but it's very him sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
And then he's so we've talked about this. Adam and I have talked about this to an extent. Mm-hmm. We love bringing in, I say we as if I have a choice. I do not have a choice into what bands play at Wasteland. Like we talk about how the bands that get brought in, it's always great if they fit the aesthetic with visual and audio and, their style and their attitude. If it fits the event, great. But if they stick around when they get off stage and make friends and go camp to camp, those are the bands that end up getting invited back.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So there's the secret tip I can give. If you are lucky enough to play at Wasteland and you want to get invited back, immerse yourself in the community.
Yeah. Oh, well done. Yeah, because I have heard about the bands that they'll show up in the bus an hour before the show and take off after they're done. And I understand a lot of bands they're on Wasteland as part of their tour, so that it's just a date on their tour.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's cool, but there is definitely something to being a part of this thing.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's see. We're about a year into the plague, a little over at this point.
Yeah,
what have you been? I know it's insane. But this podcast grew out of it, so there's something. But what have you been doing to stay active in the music scene? Because there's no shows, there's no concerts, there's no tours. What do you do?
So since all the venues are closed, and even though some of them are open, we don't want to play. At least not until like we can get vaccinated. You know, vaccine rollouts need to improve a hell of a lot more before we want to play publicly.
Yeah.
So we kind of sat on it for the first few months, and then we kept seeing these Twitch streams pop up of like bands performing. So one of them that I saw was Psychostick. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. They are a joke metal band.
Awesome.
They're super goofy. We opened up for them years ago. We played with them, and we played with Wes Borland's band, Blacklight Burns. And it was a wild night. But I started seeing Psychostick doing these live concerts, and there's people cheering, and these little diamonds are exploding on screen. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then they have a tip jar, and it's just overflowing with money. Awesome. And they're just like, yeah, COVID sucks. And they're singing songs about how like dogs love socks and going to the dentist and how much it sucks. And I'm just like, this is fucking wild. Kind of put it on the back burner in my brain. And then another month or two went by, and I saw Matt Heafy, I think his name is, the lead singer, guitarist of Trivium. And it was like, follow him on Twitch. And I'm like, what the fuck? Twitch is for gaming. So I pop over to his Twitch channel and like trying to navigate around, and he's just got a camera on his face, camera on his left hand, camera on his right hand. And he's playing Trivium songs with backing tracks, but he's playing the guitar live and he's singing live.
Yeah.
I was
awesome.
Like, oh my God, this is so, I could easily set this up for myself, except I'm going to take it fucking 10 more steps further and get the whole band in here. This will totally work. I swear. And so we eventually started just dipping our toes in with gaming, trying to figure that out. Our weekly game nights got really big for a while, but I think people have kind of lost interest. Like you said, it's been a year at this point.
Yeah.
The ones that really kick off for us though is doing live concerts. And I think since May or June of last year, we've done one a month. So it's always the last Friday of the month. We did a generic, just a whole bunch of songs. We've done, we did one called Songs We Didn't Write, and where it was nothing but cover songs.
Awesome.
We did an acoustic show, which was a whole bunch of songs, old and new, you know, from the first release all the way to the new album Antagonist, bunch of acoustic songs. We did the Antagonist from start to finish. Back in February, we did the Breakout EP from start to finish to celebrate its 10-year anniversary. So it's been fun. We kind of just do this 1 month at a time. We make up our mind of what the hell we're going to do at the beginning of the month, and then practice for it all month.
That's great.
We've gotten really lucky with the audience and the people who have followed us to Twitch, because Facebook's algorithm is terrible for bands.
Oh, really?
For small businesses, it sucks. Instagram Live is really great for like moments in time, not for events, right? YouTube, we weren't getting much interaction on it, so we just decided to go all in on Twitch, and then we made affiliate. And then people started subscribing, and then people are cheering, and there's exploding diamonds, and our tip jar is overflowing. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is what we have to do, because all of the money we've made off of Twitch has gone straight to the album, you know, to finishing that. Yeah. It went towards the pre-orders that we did, the special pre-orders just for the album of like, you know, the hoodies and the beer steins and stuff like that. It's been a really cool way to not only stay connected with our listeners and with our friends and our fans, but it's a way for them to interact with us, because they can chat with us during the show, and like we respond to their chats in between songs, right? They can cheer, which makes diamonds explode on the screen with their name on it, right?
Yeah, it's really good for dopamine levels when you see that kind of stuff.
It's absolutely triggering all of those. It's super addicting to throw money at attack. It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is fun. And a lot of times, I know Twitch does it. There's Stage It does a very similar thing. There's a few different venues for like live music or any kind of performances, really. And it is a blast, because you can, a lot of the tips are like, you know, 10 cents or a nickel. So you can just start blasting people with these small tips that really add up. And throw out a few stars throughout the show, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, so like, for example, Amazon of the Air Raid Sirens was in our acoustic stream, and in the middle of a song, she sent 1,000 cheers. All right. And then another, and then another, and then another, and then another. And so for like a good 30 seconds, it was just like, Amazon, twinkle, explode, Amazon, twinkle, explode. And it was just like, like I loved it. I love seeing like, our friends like getting involved in this and like having fun. And, we talked about this earlier off the air, supporting our friends and their art and like whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And like, it's really cool to see it come back to the band.
Yeah. And it's so much more fun to tip $5 video game style on like a Twitch than it is to give the doorman at some crappy club $5.
Yeah, right. And then that $5 goes directly to the band. I think Twitch takes a cut because it's run by Amazon, and Bezos needs his money.
Of course.
Did you know we have to pay taxes on the money we made on Twitch last year? I just got the notice in my email. Like, wait a minute.
By the way, we sent a 1099 in your name.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I was thinking about that. I was like, hang on, how can Bezos get away with not paying taxes on any of that money? But the $800 we made on Twitch over 9 months.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm going to go to federal prison if I don't pay it.
Yeah. It's cute, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Bezos.
Oh, thanks, Bezos. He is like, I think he's the best chance. Him and Musk are the two best chances for like supervillain right now.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, they both could have been like, they both could have just like solved world hunger or something. And no, instead they decided to be like weird half-assed Batman villains.
Yep. Yeah. Just minus the good nature.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, what a shame. Anyway, guys, rich guys, just be better.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Back in the day, when you had a band, I'm talking like 80s, 90s at this point, you formed a band, you played as many live shows as you could. Maybe you would cut like a 1 or 2 song demo and you would hope to get picked up by a label that would produce and distribute your music. But like post 2000-ish, everything got changed. And now anyone can record an album in their living room with even just like a mid-priced laptop, right? And you can have your music on iTunes and Spotify within a week, like out into the world where anybody can find it. And so there's like this good thing that anybody can get involved with music, but you're also now having to act as your own producer, director, promoter, distributor, and you have to compete in this incredibly saturated market. So
oversaturated, absolutely.
Yeah. So with all that said, what do you think about the music industry today?
Oh man. It's hard, man. The name of my band back in like the 90s, 2000s was called the Toxic Twinkies, by the way.
No kidding. That's a great name.
Yeah. And our first song that we ever wrote and made a demo for was called Toxic Twinkie, right? And I would wear motorcycle armor and a giant rubber chicken mask head. And it was terrible. It was bad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was the goal. The goal was to keep making demos and get picked up by a record label. And then the Toxic Twinkies would take over the world. So I still have the drum skin hanging in my studio now.
Nice.
This says the Toxic Twinkies. I'll send you a picture of it later.
That's so cool.
Yeah. That was the goal. And even up until like the mid 2000s, I was playing bass for a band called Cursed Lullaby, based in Los Angeles. And we had a pretty cool sound. It was a lot of fun, high energy, female lead singer, gal Mandy. She's a makeup artist now, super successful makeup artist. I love following her online. I'm glad we stayed friends after all these years. Right. That was also the goal though. Even then in the mid 2000s was get the record deal. And we would invite, record label, representatives from like Nuclear Blast or, Roadrunner Records or, whoever, Century Media, whoever we could get out to like watch us play. We would invite them out to play. And I remember one night we played in Hollywood and we invited Century Media Records out to come and watch us play. And we also would team up with this band across the hallway from us all the time. Guy named Chris played guitar for this band. It was another female fronted metal band. And we weren't a big fan of them, like musically, right? I mean, we loved them. They were great. They were super tight. They wrote catchy tunes. I don't know why it just wasn't really my cup of tea, right?
Okay.
But we would invite them to play shows with us and they would invite us to play shows with them. And, we would just kind of do this back and forth just once in a while. And Chris was super cool. And anyways, this A&R rep comes out to watch us play in Hollywood. And we never heard back from them, from the record label, right? But Chris's band in this moment went on to become one of the largest fucking bands on the goddamn planet.
What?
We never heard from him again.
Wait, which band was this?
In this moment, they got the gal singing for them, Maria Brink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're fucking huge.
Sometimes that's just how it goes, though.
Right. Yeah, we were just like, okay, bye.
Wow.
They were super cool to work with though. Like just like across the hallway, right?
Uh-huh.
And like off they went on their road to fame, and we were like, we're next, guys. Just wait, you'll see.
Uh-huh.
So this, man, I do this to you all the time. You ask me a question and I ramble. How do I feel about the music industry? It's luck. It's really what it comes down to. It's luck, and we've decided, like officially, I guess, getting a record label deal was never the goal to begin with in the beginning.
Okay.
We had applied to a couple of other smaller indie labels in the hopes of getting help with distribution or promotion, but they all just wanted a shit ton of money, like right up front.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. So really the way to do it these days is the way that like Macklemore did it, for example. Created a super dope sound, wrote a bunch of really catchy tunes. And then I think it was Warner Brothers Records called him in for a meeting. And he was like, all right, you and your buddy, here's the deal. You're going to get 7% to split of everything. It's a really good deal. And he was like, you can get fucked. And he walked out and he walked across the street where he knew that the Warner Brothers distributions, like, side of the label was. And he just walked in there and slapped a fat stack of money down, which again, he was lucky enough to have built a really strong following and made a lot of money off this band independently. And he just bypassed the label and went straight to the distributor. And he said, I want my Thrift Shop song on every radio station for the next 6 months, every 10 minutes.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. And like, so he just does it himself.
Wait, so does pay to play still exist? Payola?
I mean, I think so. It definitely in like little terms of stuff like that. Right. It was less, here's money, play my music. And it was, you are in charge of the distribution of these songs to radio stations. I'm paying for those services.
Got it.
Not paying the radio station directly. Right. NoFX is another good example of a band that they do their own label. Like they made their own label. Again, not just luck. Fat Mike, the lead singer bassist of NoFX, got a loan from a family member for like 14 or 16 grand or something like that. And that was the capital that he used to start the record label. Not everybody can be that lucky or privileged, right, to be able to have access to capital like that to start a record label. So that's just the way that we've approached it. People's attention spans have changed just in the last decade. A really good example is if you look at a Scooby-Doo cartoon, right? The average length of time between shots is like 10 or 12 seconds, right?
Oh, because they would because the animation was cheaper to stay on the same shot for a long time. Yeah.
Look at a SpongeBob episode. Do you know what the average amount of time
I don't know,
between shots is?
No, but I think it's like a strobe light almost.
It's like 1 second or like 3/4 of a second. It's really quick. So the way that we consume media has changed a lot. And that's not just for TV shows. It's also for music and for videos and for video games and stuff like that. So what we're kind of seeing now is the people that are getting famous musically, a lot of it's viral kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Look at Rebekah Black and her Friday song. That went viral as hell. She made a ton of money off of it. She just celebrated her 10-year anniversary of it, by the way.
No way.
Yes. She released a remix. Man. It's very silly. You need to check it out. But like,
I'm glad she learned to embrace it.
No, yeah, she absolutely did. It's been fun watching her like track on like trying to be a pop artist, right?
Yeah.
Like now that she's under like a little indie label or something like that. But again, it all goes back to just like she had this viral hit that got famous for all of the wrong reasons. And then she just leaned into it hard and became the up and coming pop star that she is now. So yeah, I don't know. You asked me, how do I feel about the record industry right now? The music industry. It's hard, man. But so this release, Antagonist, is the very first release that I have put out under. I finally pulled the trigger on something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And I started my own record label. We had been doing it anyways, just our own promotion, our own distribution, our own, recording, producing, mixing, mastering, everything, right? Instead of just like hoping a label comes along one day, like, fuck it. I'm just going to put a logo on the back of the CD, and it's Midworld Records.
Midworld, what's that mean?
It's another Dark Tower reference, believe it or not. Midworld is the part of the universe where most of the Dark Tower series takes place.
Got it. I think
Stephen King read, the Lord of the Rings series when he was younger, and he said, I'm going to write a series just like this.
Fantastic.
But he didn't start it right away because he didn't want to completely rip it off. And then years later, he was watching A Fistful of Dollars in a movie theater, and it's Clint Eastwood, right? Yeah. And there's just the scene of Clint Eastwood holding his gun to the screen, and it's 8 stories tall, and here's just this rugged cowboy in this like epic Western. And he was like, oh, there's my book. So elements of the Lord of the Rings trilogy definitely seeped in. So instead of Middle Earth, it's Midworld. I'm like, oh, okay, come on, Stephen King, you can do better than that.
Well, I guess if you're going to rip something off, you may as well embrace the fact that you're ripping it off and just kind of go with it.
Yeah, exactly. So Midworld Records. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's kind of neat to just be like, we have finally embraced that we are our own record label, and it's got a name and it's copywritten, and that's that. So
awesome.
I don't know where it's going to go from here.
What can you do different with a label than you could not do without it? You know what I mean?
So I can put a logo on the back of the CD case that says Midworld Records.
That's good.
Reaching out to people for publicity, stuff like that, doing album reviews and stuff like that, doing it as a label instead of as a band. Might have a better shot, or so I thought. I sent out about 400 emails trying to get people to review Antagonist. I got one, and it was just an invite to do a guest blog of who I thought would be fun bands to tour with Attack one day. Okay, so don't get me wrong. It was a fun exercise, and it was a lot of fun to think about it. But, in the middle of the 500 emails, I got about, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 rejection emails. And then this one email, and I'm just like, the Dream Attack tour. Who would it be? Like, it was a little tough to pull myself out of that funk, but it was still fun.
Yeah. So basically the music industry is still just a grind.
Yeah. It's wild, man. You got to strike while the iron is hot for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, because at the same time, there's these opportunities to create a fandom on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Like, if I always say, like, so the Apocalypse Post doesn't get huge numbers on YouTube, but it gets good numbers. I'm happy. And the fact is, like, if I put out, like the documentaries, like the Wasteland documentaries, if I put them out into a movie theater and 100 people were in that room, I would be like, this is amazing. So many people showed up.
Right.
But if I get 100 hits on YouTube, I'm like, all right, it's just getting started,
Yeah.
And those docs are now in the like tens of thousands of views. And that's something I would never, I couldn't have gotten them into a theater long enough for 20,000 people to go in and watch it. You're like,
okay, right.
So I think it's really unique, and I don't know, it's an interesting world where, it's still a grind. It's just a different kind of grind.
Yeah. And you have to continue to evolve your promotional strategies and your social media presence. So like Facebook is dead for us, man. We got 13,000, 14,000 likes or followers on Facebook. They keep changing whether they're going to be likes or follows. I can't keep up with it. And we'll make a post. And if we post about anything that's not Facebook, so if we post a YouTube video, a link to our Twitch, anything that links to an outside website, of those 13,000 people, Facebook will show it to 20.
Yeah.
20 people. That's it, man.
It's nuts.
So we've really leaned into Twitch. We've been doing great with that.
Great.
Instagram is still working fairly well for us. I'm really bad at creating Instagram friendly content.
Yeah, same.
So that's tough to keep up with. TikTok is another one. We've tried to make a couple of videos on TikTok that are band centric. Those completely fucking flopped. I've tried making a couple of videos that follow some of the TikTok trends. Those did a little bit better. But it's the TikTok algorithm is strange. It's great as a viewer on TikTok. As a content creator though, dear God, it's tough to break into it. That one's been tough. But one thing that we just did a few weeks back, we started our own Discord server, and just like overnight, a ton of people joined. Okay, so like a ton is like 40, right?
Yeah.
But like we now have a place to interact with our fans every day. They immediately see our messages, unless they turn the notifications off. But like, all we did was put out a link. They were like, we have a Discord server. Come hang out, I guess, if you guys really want to.
Yeah.
And all of those people went out of their way to come hang out with us.
Awesome.
So we've been using that just as like daily bullshit. We have one channel on the server called Attack Mealtime, where we just post pictures of the food that we're cooking or eating or whatever, right? We have another one called Cover Ideas. So you can go into this channel and suggest a cover to us, and we're just going to tell you no. Like, that's the rules.
I love it.
Dude, it's been so fun. We have another one for game night, and that one's the big push for like when our game nights on Twitch get way too crowded and there's too many people trying to join in on these games we play with viewers, like Jackbox or something.
Yeah.
We hide the screen with the code on it, and we only give the code to our Discord server. So then they know on game night to hang out on the Discord channel or on the game night channel.
Got it.
We'll give them the cords there. They can get in there and play with us there. So it's kind of a VIP pass to play games with us on Friday nights.
That's great.
Dude, it's been so hard to figure out like what works to help promote a band without just seemingly being a promotions robot trying to get money from our friends and fans. Like we want people to see content when we put it out and like tell us they like the album. That's pretty much all we want in life.
Yeah. All right. So with all these social media things going on today, and I know that we took a long time to talk about the music industry right now. Which,
If that gets edited down to like a third of the length, I won't be mad at you. I really went off there.
No, it's good stuff. And I find it really fascinating. But my next question, I'm a little bit scared to say out loud, but I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. What do you think the music industry is going to look like in like another 10 or 20 years?
Oh, heck.
Because if you can figure it out, like it would be like you just magicked it, you know, like what am I trying to say?
Right.
You know, like,
all
right. So
I didn't mean to
social. Yeah.
I didn't mean to disassociate there for a minute, but I was trying to think, dear God, what would that look like? I predict, more short, instantaneous content.
Yeah.
But also like people still really like going to concerts, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, the want to go see live bands perform, I don't think that's going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the way that the music gets distributed will be different. Spotify is reigning supreme right now. And I think for every stream of an Attack song, we get 0.0000075 cents or something like that.
Give or take. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like Spotify will probably still be doing its thing. Facebook, I don't know. I don't know if Facebook, not for music. I don't think Facebook will be good for music. Ooh, this is tough, man.
Yeah. Like, think about like radio stations, you know, because they're playing, if they're a top 40, they're playing the top 40. If they're not a top 40, they're still playing the top 40. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Like there's very, very little music discovery. We've got a couple great stations here in Nashville for music discovery. More than any city deserves, to be honest. It's kind of amazing. But, you know, people will jump on, you know, ask Alexa to play like music like this artist, jump on Spotify, Pandora to explore music, which you don't necessarily get to do that on the radio. Of course, they'll play new stuff that the music machine wants them to play. Yeah. But they're not helping you discover the lesser known music, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, for sure. And I definitely feel like radio has been, if you listen to radio executives, they'll tell you it's never been stronger. It's never been, you know, more powerful of a force in the entertainment world. But like, honestly, the only people I know that listen to radio listen to satellite radio. And a lot of it's because like they bought a car and it came with a satellite radio package, right? Yeah. There's a lot of really good options there. But yeah, Spotify, Pandora seem to be the ones that like really push for that. Oof, this is hard to say. I also don't have a pulse on like pop music. I mean, I do because I love all kinds of music, right? So I try to stay on top of like all these new bands and stuff and pop artists and stuff coming out. But yeah, I don't really have. Oof. Yeah.
It's actually, I hadn't even thought about it before I wrote that down. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think about that for my industry, like
Yeah.
what the hell is content creation going to look like in 10 or 20 years? It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, dude. And so I'm definitely keeping a pulse on TikTok because I feel like there's a way for the band to promote itself on TikTok. I just need to do it. I need to figure it out. So I've been following some other bands and stuff and watching what they do, and I'm totally going to rip all of them off.
Awesome.
But, yeah. Right. But yeah, it's definitely the future of entertainment is TikTok, right? It's short form, random. What did somebody call it? Doom scrolling. You're just scrolling and just like taking in the information. And we're at the point where it's that, dopamine overload.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard, man. I don't know.
Cool. Well, we'll think about that, and I'll have you back on in a future episode, and we will describe the future in detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man. And, of course that doesn't count on the world just continuing its ride to hell. So,
dude, I'm so ready for this shit to be over.
Yeah. And speaking of which, what's your plans for shows when we're finally on the back end of the pestilence?
Oh man. So as our rule as a band is, we all want to get vaccinated first. We don't want to fuck around.
Right.
We have 3 people directly linked to the band, wives, significant others, partners, whatever, who are either, no, we're looking at 4 of them now, that have no health insurance or are immunocompromised. Right.
Got it.
So like we really can't fuck with that. So when we do our game nights, sometimes the whole band is here. We keep our bubble pretty small. So we try not to, branch out and spend a whole bunch of time with people that we could be spreading it. So as far as live shows goes, I know it's a real roundabout way of getting to it. Right. Vaccine rollout have to be real nice and strong. We want, all the venues to be reopened again. Like, just a little bit of a sense of normalcy back. If we get an opportunity to perform, so like Wasteland coming up at the end of this year, we hope, fingers crossed. Vaccine rollouts seem to be doing okay, not as good as they could be going, right? But if Wasteland rolls around and we're all vaccinated, like I think we'll probably end up like we would take that show.
Yeah, great.
But if I got a phone call tomorrow from the local bar down the street and they said, "Hey, does AHTCK want to come play a 2-hour set in a packed bar with no masks because of freedom?" I'm like, "Nah, bro, I'm good."
And do you think you'll keep up with like Twitch and live streaming and that kind of stuff? Do you think you'll keep going even once like concerts are back?
I think we will, because we'll have to see. So let me roll that back a little bit. We'll wait and see, because if suddenly everything opens back up, we're back to normal, let's say a year from now, and people are out there and they're going up to bars and they're celebrating birthdays and they're going to see other bands playing. They're going to see big bands playing and stuff like that. And it's Friday night and AHTCK goes live on Twitch and we have 2 people logging on to watch us because everybody's out doing something because it's Friday night.
Yeah.
We'll probably dial it back a bit from there. But I mean, if there's still a demand for it and people are still interested and, we're still making money off of doing it, then yeah, absolutely. We will totally keep it up.
One of the things I was wondering about is when we come out of this, is live streaming your shows going to become so normal that you'll just live stream your live shows? So that the people that aren't in town can still see you perform, even if they can't get to that venue.
Yeah. Right. I was thinking about that. I would be able to set it up really easily now. Just like go up to the mixer and just be like, just give me a headphone out. I got this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can do it on a cell phone. So
yeah,
it could be worth keeping up with.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I would love to be able to do that.
Yeah. I think it's going to become more important. And honestly, like if I was doing a band today, I would almost be online more than I was live.
Right.
Just because of the reach you can have.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah. Pretty cool. All right. So you kind of did it, but do you have any predictions for Wasteland Weekend 2021? Whether it's on or not?
Ah, man, I'm being cautiously optimistic, man.
Same.
I hope the vaccine rollout improves a bit more in California. And I don't know. I just hope the state can get its shit together. It's it's the 5th largest economy in the world, 2nd largest state, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think something like that. A lot of people here, man. I hope it happens.
Yeah.
I think with the current trajectory, it's probably looking okay as of, mid-February when we're doing this interview. But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a really good shot. It is like right on the line, isn't it? Like
it's so close. It's like too close to call, man.
If it was a month later, I'd be like, yeah, no sweat. And if it was a month earlier, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know. But it's like right on the line.
Yeah. And like, so as production manager of Wasteland Weekend, I had a couple of people message me and they're like, hey, so is Wasteland happening this year? And I'm like, dude, I don't fucking know.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, dude, nobody knows.
Wasteland does not know. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we got to feel it out. And of course, it's going to all rely on the state and local ordinances on large events.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the state could look really good. Vaccine rollouts could be kicking ass. And then Kern County could be like, nah, get fucked. You're not doing it.
Yeah, good. All right, cool. Hey, plug your socials.
Oh, man. Okay. My socials. The band. Yeah, we're doing the band one. Yeah.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, of course. we're every last one. No, I want to know your Twitch, your Facebook, your YouTube, everything.
Yeah. So, facebook.com/attack. That's AHTCK. There's also attack.com that links to a whole bunch of stuff, including our propaganda site, which is upcoming events and news and stuff like that. Instagram.com/attack, twitch.tv/attack.
That one's tricky.
Discord. I don't know how to link people to that. It's
okay.
It's a weird link. I'll send it to you and you can put it in the notes.
I'll put it in the notes. Look below, guys.
Oh my gosh. Facebook, Instagram, twitter.com/attack, youtube.com/attack.
It's good when you can get all those URLs to match.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about attack. So we used to go by the name of All Hail the Crimson King, right? And it's a super nerdy Stephen King Dark Tower reference. And we couldn't get very many shows. We couldn't figure out why. And one day we were getting ready to play at the Viper Room and we did sound check and they have the curtain closed and the sound guy's on stage with us. And he's like, what's your guys' name? I was like, it's All Hail the Crimson King. He goes, oh, you guys are that King Crimson tribute band, right? Like, what? No, dude, we're like a hard rock metal band. He's like, oh, thank God. And he gets on the microphone, which is just a one way to the guy up in the sound booth. And he's like, hey, Frank, they're not a King Crimson tribute band. They're just a metal band. And then we hear on the monitors on stage, he's just like, oh, thank God. And you're like, maybe this is why nobody will book us. Everybody thought we were a King Crimson tribute band.
That's
like,
hilarious.
Okay, this makes sense. So then we played around with the acronym. We're like, AHTCK. That says something, right? And we kept looking at it. And somehow I convinced those jerks that it says attack. It's like, that totally says attack. They're like, I don't know, does it? We're like, yeah, just like AFI, which stands for a fire inside. But now they go by AFI. We could go by attack. That says attack.
Hell yeah.
Dude, like nobody knows how to pronounce it. No, like everybody thinks it's like AHTCK or something like that. We actually are banned from playing at the House of Blues in Anaheim.
Why so?
That's the one at Disneyland, right? They're moving now, but this was previously before they moved, because All Hail the Crimson King is not family friendly because it alludes to Satan worship. We've literally been banned from the House of Blues at Disneyland. So
wow,
that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So like we can't catch a break with this stupid fucking name, but now it's been 10 years and like we just have to stick with it. Yeah. So it's no surprise that AHTCK was available on everything except TikTok.
What?
Somebody took attack on TikTok.
All right. Well, now I'm going to go on TikTok and look up what the hell.
I think it's somebody in Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
So if you look up the hashtag of attack on certain websites, specifically like Middle Eastern and Indonesian, attack is either part of, or it is a word that means something. I haven't been able to figure out what it means. Or if it means anything, or if it's just part of a word, I don't know. But on TikTok, our username is Attack Talk.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, AHTCK TOK Attack Talk.
Attack Talk. Actually, that's pretty clever. I like that.
I thought it was cute. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you ever say, "Hey guys, we're going to be doing a talk show later"?
A talk show.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's painful.
Oof. My soul.
Yeah. Okay, well that's great. We got through it.
Yeah, we did it.
We did good. Yeah. All right. So everyone out there, go check out Attack's new album, Antagonist. It's available now on Spotify, Amazon, Bandcamp, wherever you get your music. Where do most people find it, Tim?
So Spotify is the big one. People just stream it. If you want to actually give money to the band for the album, the best way to do that is on our Bandcamp page, which is attack.bandcamp.com. And it's under a, I think it's a pay what you want system, but it starts at $10. So if you want to pay more for it as a tip, you totally can.
That's awesome. And are you doing any hard prints for this one? CDs, albums?
Yes, we do. Those are all available on our merch store, which you can find the link on attack.com or, oh my goodness, hang on. That last sip of wine made me kind of gassy. Hang on. Okay.
High quality radio here, folks.
Yeah, let me try that again. Okay. If you want to get a hard copy of it, you can go to attack.com, where there's a link to the merch store on there, or it's attack.bigcartel.com. Going to attack.com is going to be the best way to get there, though. That's how you get to the merch. There's physical CDs. Couple of we just restocked the ladies tank tops. We just got a restock about 6 months ago of the Wasteland's most talentless shit band tank top. Those ones are a little more pricey because it's like a 5-color print or something. They're crazy. We got the new stickers are on there. The new patches are on there. So yeah, we just uploaded all of the new stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah. And you guys have some pretty badass looking t-shirts. I know I've got one in this room right now.
Somewhere in there behind you.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that's about it. You feeling good?
I'm feeling fantastic, man.
Cool. All right. We'll call it. Thank you so much for coming on today, Tim.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. All right, guys. We will see you next time. Well, I will. Tim won't be here next time, but he'll be here again.
Yeah. And I'll be listening to the other shows as well. So it's like we're all listening together.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, survivors, stay alive.
10 days and